The Easy Tree. Perhaps all paths this year do lead to Leo Leone. The day after her father's story, Rini asks, "How come no one dies?" She points to our Leo Leone bookshelf. "Yeah, they do," Bruce calls from his checkers game with Walter. "All those little red fish got ate by the big tuna. I mean, like mother or a father, like in Cinderella, or a grandfather. Are you remembering your father's story that he told us his grandfather died?" I ask. "I'm remembering about Jenny's mother," Rini says. "Will they tell us about that?" "I doubt it, Rini, unless someone asks. Jenny's father and grandfather mother are coming today. Not my mother," Jenny reminded us. "She has told us about her mother's death many times. She is willing to repeat the story as often as she is asked, and will bring the subject up on her own when she wants to talk about her mother. I was 2 years old," she said. "My mother had cancer. That means she was very sick. I can't remember her face, so I get her picture and look at it." Mr. Bergen and his mother arrive after lunch. I feel we are entering a three-generational novel, beginning with Jenny's memories and going backward in time. Leo Leone cannot supply such stories for us. We need real people, real family members to tell us this part of who we are. "When I was your age," Mr. Bergen begins, "we had a tree in our little town called the Easy Tree. That was because everyone in town could climb it, even little children. Then one day I wasn't careful enough, and I fell from its lowest branch. I was bruised all over. But my brother said, 'Don't tell anyone, okay? We'll say you fell off your bike, because if you tell them, then we won't have a tree to call the Easy Tree anymore.'" The children smile at Mr. Bergen. In some way, each one understands that there must always be an easy tree. One cannot give up hope. The elderly Mrs. Bergen looks warmly at her son. "John, you never told me that story." "I didn't know you fell out of the easy tree. Should Daddy have told you?" Jenny asks her grandmother. Everyone waits for the answer. This is not the sort of question the children expect in the classroom, but Mrs. Bergen replies comfortably. "Well, your dad trusted his brother to know what was best. Now, children, my story is about a place with no easy tree. When I was little, we lived on a farm in Nova Scotia. The ground was so hard you could hardly grow anything. But we were lucky. We had a cow that always gave milk, the sweetest milk ever tasted." "Was that the easy tree?" Rini asked. Mrs. Bergen looks deeply into Rini's face. "Come up here, child, and let me give you a hug. May I? You just gave me something good to think about. Our good, dependable cow, she certainly was our easy tree. You're absolutely right." While Mrs. Bergen finishes her story, in which the cow is lost, and then found in the middle of a frozen pond, unable to get off, I can't help wondering if Rini's ability to use the easy tree as metaphor is due in part to the practice we've had in analyzing Leo Leone. Yet isn't it more likely the other way around? That is, the Leo Leone stories and the easy tree stories work so well because the children come to school knowing how to think about such matters. We need only to give them the proper context in which to demonstrate and fine-tune their natural gifts. There are, of course, certain contexts each child brings independently. Was your cow brown?" Rini asks. Mrs. Bergen laughs. "Well, yes, mostly brown. She was at that. We called her Coco. What do you ask? Why do you ask, Rini?" "Because she's a easy tree cow. Brown is easy."